Scotty Schindler, the founder of Renet, which is a trillion-dollar business, and he exited from that business and is now the founder of System 1357, the author of a couple of business books, a sales expert, I would say, and proud to call him a friend for the last few years here as well. He's in Australia, and his tech journey is interesting. His first company, Renet, was built on the internet to showcase real estate in Australia and New Zealand, and really before the time we know now, where it's so easily accessible, and you had to know coding and all kinds of things to make things work. And I wanted to just talk to Scotty about that because he had the confidence to jump in, and I think that's where a lot of us are even now today, with accessibility on our smartphones, but we're still hesitant sometimes to press that button or record that video or write that post or whatever it might be to get started using the tools we have available online to us. So, Scotty, I just wanted to ask you about that, about the story, the backstory a little bit, and what made you jump into that first business, Renet, and were you tech savvy to begin with?
Yeah, good question, and great to be here, Rob. Happy to share some of the stories for your crowd and your tribe. So, look, at the turn of the century, because that's when it was, I decided to get into IT because I could see it as a business model that would help me achieve the things I wanted to achieve. With tech, you can scale, and I didn't understand it because there was no real thing called scale back then, or all these new buzzwords of the modern era. So I got into IT for that reason. I figured I could do something once and I could get paid for it over and over and over again. And that was the whole point of getting into IT. So I left the insurance company I was working for in the year 2000, and then by 2002, after 6 attempts, I started the company Renet, which, you're correct, was a real estate software business. And in the end, it managed, once again, you're correct, over $1.125 trillion worth of real estate across Australia and New Zealand. But, back then it was the early days. People didn't know what Google was. So I'd be going into real estate agents and going, oh, when you Google, they'd be going, well, what's Google? Who'd ever go there? And, so it was really hard to talk to people and have them understand what I was doing. Because I was renting the software, they were leasing it, which is now called software as a service. So it wasn't easy back then. But one thing I did have the ability to do was walk in, have a conversation with these real estate agents, and leave with the check. And that was the best thing about what I did. And I don't think anything's changed. I think in today's society, as much as it's easy to go through your phone and through the desktop, if you can create a product or a solution and go and talk to people about what you're doing, I think there's still huge opportunities. But the difference is today we can leverage that technology. We can leverage a YouTube channel. We can leverage all these things that are there to help us when we're having those conversations, to build up a crowd, build up a tribe, build up an audience. I don't think it's the only solution. I think it's a great solution, but I still think people are hungry for some real human connection. And in other words, there's a lot of stuff out there, a lot of noise, but people want help with the forest and the trees. They need to be able to see the two together and how they can use that. I think that's the secret of today. There's still a whole bunch of business people out there that want help in that area. So if you can help people with problems and create a solution, well, that's where the big business opportunities are.
Yeah. Video content certainly helps a little bit with that connection, I feel, but you're right. There's nothing like face-to-face when you're actually getting down to doing business. So it all does work together, doesn't it?
It does, the beautiful thing about like a YouTube channel is it's scalable. You do a video once, it can still be there in 5 years' time, as long as the content's relevant. It can still be there producing and saving you time. I do video courses, for example, and people log in every day and watch those videos. So for me, it's time duplication. I don't have to say the same thing over and over and over again. They can log in, watch the videos, learn something new. And if they go on and use that, that's great. Or if they want help, they can reach out to me and I can help them. Once again, how do I use it? Answer that question. So definitely with technology. I mean, if I was starting again today, because I was there before YouTube, so I'd be leveraging all these tools to scale myself. I don't have to repeat everything over and over and over again. And how do you do that? With technology. Create some videos, create some courses, whether they're paid for or free. It's how you can scale up very fast today without very much effort at all, just with your smartphone. The quality of videos on smartphones is insane.
Yeah, it's come a long way. It's incredible. I know photographers who forever have not had many good things to say about smartphone cameras, but have changed their minds. Although they still prefer their professional cameras, they have changed their minds over time about how good the smartphone cameras have become. And it really is quite amazing what they're able to do. Incidentally, time duplication is one of the 5 systems of successful people. That was your first book, I think, right? And so there are 4 other systems, and I'll leave that to the folks watching to check out the book and find out the secrets. But I do highly recommend it, and we'll make sure there's a link to that in the description below, as well as you've got another book now too, right?
Yeah, I do. The latest book, Sell More, Make More, which
Yep.
is all about having that conversation and getting paid. So after you've got the technology working for you, you actually want to get paid for this stuff. So you want to be able to have a conversation with either an individual or a company or an organization and actually put a solution in play that will allow you to get paid for all of those skills and knowledge that you do have. So it's important to be able to get paid. People think technology is going to be the salesperson for them. And look, it can help and does sometimes work. But generally speaking, people still want to deal with a person, and you need to be able to have that conversation and get paid. And I think that's actually almost a forgotten trade nowadays, almost too much reliance on tech. But tech is an amazing solution. That's why I wanted to get into technology and IT. I can leverage so many things that allow me to be in multiple places at once without having to be there. It's amazing you can do that. But you still have to have a conversation and get paid.
Yeah. This is one of the advantages I think our generation has because we grew up without the internet. So we were able to develop the skills of talking to people, whether it be in person or on the telephone. And so to be able to combine that with the leverage, as you say, from the technology available today, I think is a win-win, and I think gives us a tremendous advantage. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've done a little bit in the startup community in the last few years. And the first thing they want to do is do their social media marketing. And I go, well, that's really good. But once someone says, what do you do or how can you help me? That's when you actually need to have that conversation. That conversation and actually turn that and convert that conversation to a real paying client, you know. So it's become a bit of a forgotten trade. So you're right. I think we do have an advantage in our generation that we can still talk to people. People still want to be, I guess, nurtured and taken care of and led through the journey of what to do next. And that's the skill set people are prepared to pay for.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me about, so let's go back again. When you started Renet, you actually learned coding, correct?
100% yes.
Yeah, so what was that like? And was it intimidating?
No, it was a challenge. I started off coding and I bought 2 books on the Gold Coast in Australia. One was on databasing and one was on coding because you have to have both. So I bought both those books and I started off with the simple Hello World. If anyone knows what Hello World is in programming, it's your very first code you write. You get the program to say hello world and you go, hey, and then it just goes from there. And I had the advantage that I was out on the coal face talking to potential clients and asking them what their problems were and then going back and trying to work out how to write a solution for that problem. And that's all I did. And that's all I did for the entire journey of Renet. I didn't go, oh, what's happening in the internet? I went, what do clients need on the coal face? What's going to save them some time? What's going to duplicate their time? What's going to help them do one to many? And, the saying I had at Renet was 2 minutes in and you get 100 minutes back for free out of the software. So once again, that time duplication you spoke about a minute ago was also a philosophy of the company. I had to give time duplication to my clients as well as myself as a philosophy. It also had to be followed through as a solution for clients. And I think that's why it was so successful. Understanding those systems that I write about in that book, it was almost like cheating because people went, yeah, that's what I want. So it was sort of easy to create that environment where people want to become part of it. But I think today nothing's changed. People still want to become part of something. People still want solutions. People still want to be able to scale. People still want to be able to grow. And there's so much noise out there that they're looking for experts. So when you create video content and you create all these different things you can do today, that helps with that. But you still want to be able to position yourself as an expert. Someone says, well, look, here's $10,000. Can you come in and help me do a solution for my business or my company, my organization, my team? And so positioning yourself as an expert is fundamental, but it's also easy today to do that. So you've got to do something different to stand out amongst the noise. So
you said something there. It wasn't intimidating to start coding, but you saw it as a challenge. So maybe that's one of the secrets when we're looking at technology for any of us today. If we're a little bit hesitant, maybe the idea is to reframe our thoughts around that from, wow, this is a little scary to, hey, I could really benefit from this. And you talked about some of the outcomes with Renet as you were learning to code, or at least the potential outcomes. You knew there was a plan. And so to know that and to frame it as a challenge maybe is something that could be motivating, as it seemed to be for you, right?
yeah, and I wanted to learn. Well, I wanted to scale. I want to be able to do something once and get paid for it over and over and over again. A bit like writing a song or making a movie. If they're any good, they last the test of time, right? And same now with writing books. I saw software and technology as a skill set that would allow me to be able to achieve that. Although I didn't have an end game, I saw technology as the solution for the system of time duplication. I just needed to go to the coalface and ask clients what they wanted. So when I was out talking to business owners, they told me what their problems were. And I went, okay, well, I can create a solution for that. And that was a huge opportunity. It was something that no one else was doing. And this is why I said even today, I think there's even more opportunity for that than there's ever been, because most people aren't out there talking to real people, looking for real solutions. They're just chucking things on social media and hoping people are going to come knock on their door. I think there's a huge opportunity for still that face-to-face, business-to-business, person-to-person. I call it B2B, belly-to-belly conversations. B2B, belly-to-belly conversations, and help people with their tech. So if you learn how to leverage tech yourself, people are going to want to know that skill set and seek your skill set as a solution for some of their problems.
Yeah. Belly to belly conversations. I like that. B2B, belly to belly.
That's in my Sell More, Make More book. Sell More, Make More. B2B.
There you go.
Belly to belly. Go out and talk to people.
There you go. So now, these days, System 1357 is kind of your overarching project, right? And you are using some technology solutions for that. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I started doing courses. So I've done a lot of video content, so I can record the videos, explain something once, and people can listen to it over and over again. And coaches are now using that material as well. So they're logging in and they're running workshops with people and showing them the videos so they don't have to say it. Then they can analyze the video and talk about how they can use that in their business. Let's say it's to do with like people's introductions or their clothes getting paid or follow-up systems they can implement. So I've created those courses and leveraging technology as much as I can. So, I don't necessarily need to work, but I enjoy the challenge of going out and providing solutions for people and then enjoying the reward of when people go, oh, wow, that's amazing. I can use that, and to watch them go off and prosper. One of the clients I took on last year, because I only take on a handful of clients a year, so I don't take on many, just enough to get me interested. He went from winning 1 in 7 tenders, and these are $1 million tenders. So 1 in 7 tenders, he was concerned. He hasn't lost a tender since. In fact, he thought he lost one. So the last 5 tenders he put in for, he's won 4. So he thought he lost the 5th one. So he wrote to them and said, oh, what happened? They just haven't awarded the tender yet.
Oh.
But his strike rate's gone through the roof again, and that's through some simple things that people can implement in their conversations and their presentations above and beyond their skill set that they already bring to the party.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm really enjoying that side of it. Rather than just retiring early, it's sharing and empowering others is exciting. It's good fun to watch people have that aha moment, go, oh, I can do that. And it's really like a 1% change, not a It's sometimes just a small paradigm shift in the way they think about something, as opposed to having to have an epiphany and change everything. No, no, no. You don't have to change a lot. It's just small things that people just they just haven't been taught. That's all. It's
Yeah.
not their fault. They just haven't been taught these small minor things. They can do small minor adjustments about the psychology behind the conversation.
Well, there's a tremendous need for mentorship, I think, and it would be a shame to have somebody with your wealth of knowledge and experience not to be a mentor. And I've certainly learned a lot from you, and I'm grateful you're committed to doing that. Now, you're busy on social media a little bit, right? You're on LinkedIn. I see you pop up on Instagram once in a while, but you're not really heavily immersed in it. You just sort of do bits and pieces. And how is that working for you? What's the strategy there for you?
You're probably not going to like this answer because I don't have a strategy. I do it for fun, not for necessity. And Instagram only has my surfing on it, really. It doesn't have anything else but surfing on it. So I don't do a lot with Instagram. And LinkedIn, I find, is a good platform for business. I like the business side of it, like-minded people. It's a community there of people that I can relate to. So I really like the business side of LinkedIn. Facebook is for friends. But look, to be honest with you, I do it for fun on social media, not for necessity. But I have experimented a lot with LinkedIn and how to have those communication systems put in play to actually achieve some results. And it's amazing what LinkedIn can do. You can, if you do the right thing, create business out of LinkedIn. I've proven it several times, and it's not hard to do it if you do the right things. A lot of people now have AI using uh, or pretending to be them on LinkedIn, and it's
Yeah.
so noticeable that it's AI, and I think it's terrible. If you have a real conversation with people in your real hot zone, your target zone, you can actually generate over the course of several months a fair bit of business out of LinkedIn by doing the right things. And certainly AI tools are fantastic, but I think if you're going to go on LinkedIn to do proper prospecting, is to do it properly, one-on-one, and actually have a strategic and very intentional, deliberate action about that conversation that you have with the potential prospect. And if you make it real and genuine, it's amazing the impact that can have because it stands out. It actually stands out amongst the noise on the internet.
Yeah. It's interesting. LinkedIn has evolved so much. And to me, I think it was initially built, well, we know it was built to be a job search site, or a place to store your digital resume. And it evolved tremendously since then. It actually is a social network now where you can post content and interact with people. And I think networking is probably its biggest advantage. So it's interesting now with AI generating content, generating comments. We're sort of removing the whole point of connecting with people and networking. So I'm curious to see how it goes forward from here, actually, and how much people
There's
have
a lot of
success with it.
there's a lot of bots on there now, and they're trying their best
Yeah.
to get rid of the bots, but they can't control the bots. The AI is crazy, just how much that's grown. So all of a sudden we've got AI talking to AI, and it's not even the real people anymore. And so that's going to be, like you said, very interesting to see where that gets to. But what I see is amongst all that noise and cloud of distortion with AI is that still that very much a real opportunity to have face-to-face, belly-to-belly, B2B conversations and achieve business. Because that's ultimately people trying to save time because they want to get smarter and better and grow their businesses. Well, AI is not going to do that for you. AI might save you some time, but it's not going to do the same thing a human to human conversation can do. That actual listening and responding and seeing that forest and trees moment and putting a solution in play for exactly what people need.
Yeah.
I
It could
still
be
think
belly to belly.
AI is great. I still think it's a massive opportunity. The more AI comes into play, the more the opportunity is for the opposite.
I've always said that LinkedIn is an active platform, whereas YouTube offers some evergreen opportunity. And the combination of the two for me has been pretty good over time. But with the way things are evolving, I'm interested to see what happens with YouTube now too. I know you're not particularly active on YouTube, but you will be on YouTube with this video, and we'll see what comes of that. But the fact that it is evergreen, and as you mentioned earlier, you can put a video up and it can still be getting views 5 years from now. To me, there's a ton of value in that, and I wonder how AI will disrupt that stuff too. But we'll see, I guess. But there
We'll
is
see.
some value in it to me.
And you're right about Evergreen. A friend of mine started a YouTube channel years and years and years ago, and his very first video, his nickname's Uncle Knackers. His very first video was how to clean a clogged toilet or how to clear a clogged toilet. And that video still makes him money today, and it's the roughest video you've ever seen. There's no polish to it. It's just done with a simple old style phone. Now he has really polished videos, and he has like 300,000 or 400,000 followers, and he actually makes his full-time living out of just creating YouTube videos about handyman stuff around the house. It started, and he still gets paid for, and his most popular video still today is unclogging a toilet. And if you look at that video, it's really rough. It's really rough. But people Google it, and it comes up on YouTube. He has a solution for it, and off it goes. So, but with AI, look, I think people are still going to get a clogged toilet in 5 years' time. They're still going to want to know how to clear that. And his video still comes up.
Yeah, it solved a problem.
Solved the problem, right? It
Yeah.
didn't have to be done with all these lights and cameras and, multiple shoots, you know. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because there are people who I think are interested in starting YouTube as a side hustle or a retirement project or something to keep them busy and perhaps generate a little bit of income. And a lot of times they feel like they have to have the fancy cameras and lighting and the whole sort of Hollywood style setup. And that is evidence right there, how to unclog your toilet in, perhaps not the best lighting or whatever it may be, and generating revenue for this fellow, this friend of yours.
I think it's probably over 10 years old now. So,
Yeah,
it's still sitting
amazing.
there making money.
Yeah,
Like
unreal.
millions of views.
So, what would you say to somebody now who is perhaps interested in starting some kind of a business or a side hustle, and is a little bit hesitant around embracing the technology that might make it more accessible to them and to their potential audience? How would you suggest they get started?
You're talking about like a YouTube channel or something like that?
Sure, YouTube, or maybe it's a more in-person business where they're using software or social media channels or something else as part of the bigger picture, whether it's be for marketing or whatever it might be.
All right, so there's two things. First of all, technology is really good at positioning yourself as an expert. So whether that's on social media or your posts or your YouTube channels, you can position yourself as an expert without sharing everything. You
Yep.
can talk about things for a minute or two or three and share some real life examples about what to do and position yourself as an expert. So people do research online to say who is going to be the right person that I can contact to solve my problems. And they will research online, as we all do. Okay, so position yourself as an expert. How you do that will depend on the trade you're in, whether you're in the legal profession or you're in the trade business or the cooking or hospitality. You can position yourself as an expert. That's one thing straight away that you can do is like I said, first of all, position yourself as an expert. The second thing is obviously with the time duplication. Whatever it is that you're in business doing, if you don't have to repeat it over and over again, you can leverage technology to just be able to say things for you over and over again. Look, I've sat there in courses myself with a group of people and played my own videos. Let's watch this video that I recorded earlier. We sit there and watch it for 5 minutes. It's not a long video. And then we discuss it. So it's perfect time duplication. I don't have to say things over and over again. So whether it's a YouTube channel or going on social media like LinkedIn, it's about positioning yourself as an expert and then also saving time. Now, how you do that depends on the skill set you bring to the party. But everyone has a skill set. So whatever that skill set is, don't be afraid of sharing that to position yourself as an expert and to save you time because you only have to record it once and you can use it over and over and over again. And that's proper time duplication, which is the one system every successful person understands.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be great if, as all the gurus talk about, you could make money while you sleep, right? And that I think is one of the key secrets to making that happen is create a system that makes you money.
That's right. And, and technology like YouTube in particular allows you to have a channel where you can get paid for that advertising revenue. So, which is great, So, not only can you position yourself as an expert, you can actually get paid from that. But even if you don't get paid from it directly, you can get paid from it indirectly. So, if I go back to Uncle Knackers, he doesn't do any handyman work. He only makes his living out of the YouTube channel. So, people can't contact him and say, hey, listen, can you come and unclog my toilet? He's not actually a plumber or anything, right? He doesn't want business out of it. But he was originally a carpenter. He's no longer a carpenter. He just has his YouTube channel. So he hasn't used it now to position himself as an expert, but whether he goes to work or not doesn't matter anymore because his YouTube channels are still working for him, or his YouTube video on his channel is still working for him even when he's on holidays. So he does make money while he sleeps. But it took years and years and years to develop that, and it does work.
So I think the lesson there is start now, frame it
Yeah.
as a challenge, right? And be prepared to jump into it as opposed to worrying about it being too intimidating or something. And don't be afraid to test the technology, try some different things, see what works for you.
Yeah. And, like a farmer could plant a crop and take 4 years to actually harvest that crop. And then they've got to do something with that harvest, and you can do it much quicker than that on YouTube. You could start a channel today and next year it starts to mature. And the year after, you can be making some really good money out of that. But you have to start somewhere with one video a week, 52 videos later. You've got a year's worth of video content, and some of that will work and some won't, but that's okay. You don't know what people are searching for. And it's just a matter of one video a week with your smartphone would not take that long to do. And if you gave away 52 tips about what you're an expert at, you're really giving away 3 parts of nothing, because there's probably thousands of things and you're just giving away 52 pieces of advice, not necessarily trade secrets. All of a sudden you've got a channel that people are interested in and potentially a recurring stream of income, whether you go to work or not.
The opportunity is incredible, and people can do this. It really isn't that difficult to do. As we said earlier, even with your smartphone.
I've seen it firsthand, and people do it. It's not high on my interest level, because as much as I sit here and preach it, I've gone down the coaching path and done videos that people can pay for or get for free. I've just gone down that path, created my own little channel. But it doesn't matter which channel you use. There's a system out there in technology through video content, smartphones. You can find a system that works for you and make that work.
Indeed. Well, I appreciate your general business expertise all around, certainly sales expertise, among many other things. And actually, when we were talking about Instagram earlier and you said, oh, your surfing stuff comes up, you are a pro surfer as well, by the way, just so people are aware of where that comes from, and a world champion. So congrats on that.
Thank you. Yes, it's a true story.
So if you find Scotty's Instagram, well, we'll link your Instagram down below as well. So we've got all kinds of ways to get in touch with you. I appreciate you doing this, my friend.
That's okay. Anytime, mate. Always happy to help.
All right. Scotty Schindler in Australia. Man, he's had some success, and you can too.